oak tree starts from a single acorn. This past year at Griffith Enactus, we have harnessed the skills and knowledge of our students to enable our everyday heroes, those non-for-profits and charities working tirelessly in pursuit of social change. Local, national and international organisations all face the same economic, social and environmental challenges. Our students advocate for issues and support causes that transform lives and shape a better, more sustainable world. As part of our strategic plan, we considered the United Nations Millennium Development Goals. In particular, Goals 2 and 3, which focus on women and children. We then identified key strengths within Griffith Enactus: digital media, advocacy, education and a global perspective. And from these created 3 projects. Projects that effectively empower people in need by applying entrepreneurial approaches to improve quality of life and standard of living. Mental Health First Aid for Youth instills community organisations with an understanding and awareness, whilst equipping them with the language and tools to combat mental health issues within youth. Innovate Media concentrates on the digital connectivity of Generation Y to engage in online media strategies and enhance media skills for organisations. The School Bag works to fund and deliver school supplies to impoverished children in Timor-Leste, while engaging Australian students in a global awareness campaign for education equality. With Griffith Enactus now in its 4th year, we are looking into the future and the sustainability of our organisation to include future directions. With Asia's rise in the global economy, the Australian Government and Griffith University is encouraging stronger relations with our Asian neighbours. Griffith Enactus has responded to this call, and we have chosen to not establish our own projects overseas, but rather collaborate with communities in China, Vietnam and Hong Kong to solve specific and pressing issues that have already been identified in these local communities.
Prior to the establishment of Griffith Enactus, 70% of Griffith students surveyed expressed an interest in community engagement, but lacked the means and connections to mobilise their interest. We provided the answer: a flexible tiered engagement strategy to inspire initial involvement and continued efforts. In response to the initial inquiry, students are offered an opportunity in one-off events, such as building a community garden for the disabled, or fundraising and hosting an event in support of Lyme disease research. Our recruitment mechanism of 4 years, Helping Hands, uses the power of entrepreneurial action to engage students in many of our community development events and nurtures the growth of our team by channeling the unique talents, ideas and passions of our members. Griffith Enactus has undertaken 15 Helping Hands events over the past financial year. With 1,400 hours committed, Helping Hands has enabled over 170 students from all disciplines to contribute to worthwhile causes. This establishes Griffith Enactus as a sustainable organisation. It enables a two-way empowerment process, aiding in the quality of life of not only our students, but most importantly, those we work with. Helping Hands sows the seeds from which all our projects grow.
Advocacy gives us the ability to educate, to empower and to change. Through advocacy, we can make the invisible visible. You can't see mental illness on an X-ray, but that doesn't make it any less real. Mental illness can affect anyone. Could be your child, your wife, your colleague, even you. 1 in 5 Australians aged 16 to 85 have a diagnosed mental illness. Now take a look around you and tell me that mental illness doesn't affect you or anyone you know. In Australia, half of all people who experience mental illness have their first episode by the age of 18. Untreated or unrecognised mental health issues can lead to further problems later in a person's life, often of greater severity. By targeting youth when issues first arise, we are able to lessen this health burden and the economic and social cost to society through early intervention and support. We start with a kernel of knowledge, and we spread this and grow it into awareness of mental health issues and their solutions. It is from these little things that big things grow. Griffith Enactus runs free workshops to certify youth-focused community groups in mental health first aid. By facilitating these sessions, we effectively mitigate many economic factors that would otherwise hamper the spread of information. We educate participants in common mental health issues, how to recognise them and where to get help. As knowledge of mental health issues and the workshop we run increases, so does demand. The enhanced awareness and greater community support that stems from our workshops provides a lasting impact through knowledge transferred from person to person, branch to branch, tree to tree. By educating small, active community groups, we are able to educate and support many more. Those who were previously stigmatised, who slipped through the gaps, or whose problems went unrecognised, can now be bolstered by a growing community support and understanding. One participant said, "All my life I have been ashamed, as I thought mental illness was something to keep hidden. I'm so pleased to now have the language to use so that my situation gains a level of acceptance in social settings." Our courses do change lives. Through advocacy, we can make the invisible visible.
With an ever-increasing number of charitable organisations, there is a growing need for these organisations to turn to more creative, contemporary means for support. In its third year now, Innovate Media seeks to capitalise on the digital connectivity of youth and gives our students the opportunity to use their skills to catalyse positive social change. Social media is about establishing the networks, the branches and the roots from which these organisations can grow and extend their reach. Our students use the skills and knowledge that transfer from the organisations to empower these organisations, while also building their own portfolio and creating new networks. This entrepreneurial approach is reflected in the audiovisuals and the annual report you see in front of you today, which have been produced by our students. Our team at Griffith Enactus is frequently being approached by organisations wanting to work with us. Our quest is to balance this with the skills and talents of our students to organisations that will benefit the most from our help. Our students are able to adapt and create new campaigns to help empower organisations to do this for themselves in the future. The enhanced impact of NGOs assist them to effectively reach out to communities and engage with corporate sponsors. Innovate Media has now extended beyond our previous achievements to include a number of new partnerships. Today, we would like to highlight one in particular, our work alongside Kayabra, an organisation devoted to strengthening families and communities, as well as providing housing support services. In the 2011 census, over 100,000 Australians were reported as homeless. Many of these youth or women and children subject to domestic abuse. Changes to Queensland Government policy has meant that semi-permanent residency has been reduced from 7 months to now only 3. For people in these situations, it can feel like a ticking time bomb. Alongside Kayabra, we were able to obtain a grant valued at $20,000 to create a film. My Place is an advocacy resource that will assist agencies applying for government funding for housing. It will also be used as a resource to reach out to clients and relate to them, enhancing the relationship between both parties. Here is a short section from our film.
Certainty of not knowing, where am I going? Where are we going to wind up?
Homeless is hard. It's difficult.
There's a loss of a sense of connection, loss of a sense of place.
The kids ask a lot of questions. Are we moving again, Mum?
The average household is only 3 packets away from becoming homeless.
If not Kayabra, we could not get this house. 7 years we wait. My husband, he nearly committed suicide.
Most people who experience homelessness are women and children escaping domestic violence.
I believe that we're in a very unsafe environment.
And my son, I had to think of him and his safety first.
I decided that being homeless was better than us being in a violent situation. And I would rather my boys have to go toe-to-toe in a bed than have to fight their father.
Oh, my place, just heaven. Like a heaven, my place. Because that's yours already.
I could really put my feet on the ground, my roots into that place.
Being homeless is not having a family. That's what it means to me. Because we never homeless. We always got family around.
Nobody wants to be homeless.
Education is a universal right. Without access to education and adequate resources, children may never learn to read or write, and communities will struggle to support each other socially and economically. Empowering youth in need is the first step on the path to developing the potential of those youth and achieving sustainable education equality. The School Bag is a youth-led non-profit organisation that funds and delivers school resources to children in need, sustaining their education for 1 year. Co-founded by a past Griffith Enactus president, the School Bag aims to catalyse the learning potential of students by enhancing their access to education. Griffith Enactus and the School Bag, however, understand that sustaining education is much more than delivering resources, and as such, we have campaigned to advocate for the imperative that is global education. Many Timorese students lack even basic resources. After identifying the need for the urgent educational crisis in Timor-Leste, we devised a tiered deployment strategy to raise this awareness in Australia. Our social awareness campaign engaged members across the community, transforming Brisbane City's South Bank cultural forecourt into an educationally themed artwork of some 295 drawings. Through our partners, we directly impacted over 2,000 attendees and reached readerships of over 500,000. After consulting with Timorese principals in July of 2012, we assessed the needs of individual schools and engaged our schooling and commercial partners at home. Through these partners, the sale of a school bag at home secured a school bag for a student abroad. And in November of 2012, we mobilised our team. Directly, we improved the educational quality of life of over 4,000 students in need by delivering a school bag to each student at one of 12 partner schools. All school bags distributed were hand-sewn by local Timorese women, and the in-bag materials were purchased from Timorese businesses. Finally, we are pleased to announce that since our work with the school bag, the United Nations Association Australia has approached the founders to continue distributions abroad, which could see the delivery of even more school bags to children desperately in need. With support from the highest level, Griffith Enactus has cultivated this growing educational accessibility in disadvantaged Timorese communities.
Have a passion in your guts, know what practically you must do about it, then go and do it. It's not rocket science, but from little things, big things grow.
Now what for the future? This year, Griffith Enactus has embarked on a new venture and has planted the seeds of what we hope will be a fruitful collaboration. People-to-people links have the potential to create significant positive outcomes and are being valued and promoted now more than ever before. By partnering with 4 Enactus teams in Vietnam, as well as teams in China and Hong Kong, we are aligning ourselves with the goals and visions of those who know their community needs best in order to address and solve key issues in their communities. These partnerships involve a number of components where the diverse skill sets of our students are matched to projects that best appeal to their talents. After approaching the Vietnamese Enactus groups, we have been invited to work alongside them on their existing projects, many of which align to the Millennium Goals relating to women and children. These pre-established projects are already functional prior to our involvement. Our role is one of providing needs analyses from an alternate perspective as well as additional resources.
Our involvement thus far includes evaluation of cultural experiences within local villages to capitalise on the tourism industry, working alongside medical staff to provide and understand the relationship between nutrition status and domestic violence, assessing the impact of flooding within local villages and how that can be lessened on local women and children, and additionally delivering birthing kits to local villages to provide the best chance at life for each newborn, supported by the Country Women's Association. Vietnam is one of the most disadvantaged countries in the world. Yet, as a middle power country, Australia needs the support of Vietnam, and we have much to learn from the Vietnamese people. Through people diplomacy of equal powers, this symbiotic relationship can be strengthened and sustained, making this a key collaboration for our team. This project is in the pilot stage, with students in Vietnam as we speak, planting the very first seeds.
Being an active Enactus member for the past 3 years, I have seen our team grow and transform into the successful organisation it is today. It is often harder to expand and build upon the projects that have been previously created. However, this has been my challenge over the past 12 months as President of Griffith Enactus, to take our strong foundations, to nurture and guide them, enabling our students and projects to grow and blossom to their full potential. Griffith Enactus now has 3 sustainable projects, over 80 active students, over 3,800 hours committed, and budding collaborations throughout Southeast Asia. For me, the strength of Griffith Enactus lies in the comments made to us by one of the local villages in China last year. We waited decades for a footbridge to be built, but by working together, it took only hours to share ideas and make this a reality. As President of Griffith Site, I have had the opportunity to not only help raise funds and manage projects, but lead Griffith Enactus, a group that, just like in the village in China, empowers people to do things for themselves, enabling our everyday heroes.
We will now begin the question and answer session. Only judges may ask questions.
This is for the school bag project. Could you tell me how you came to deciding to work with these team, or as opposed to say local school initiatives?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just give you a bit of context about how the school bag started. It was first founded in America by a student over there, and our previous president, Chris, he worked alongside the founder in Haiti. So that was in response to disaster in Haiti during 2010, I believe. And what our previous president's chosen to do is target something close to home, the second newest nation closest to us. And East Timor has a youth rate of 50%. So East Timor was our target there because we feel that empowering youth as the future leaders, we have the potential to develop that society from something of disadvantage to something of great potential.
Thank you, that was really interesting. I have a question about the mental health first aid. Obviously that's a very specialised sort of field and very careful, not everybody can just go in and help them. Where do you get, and I'm assuming that your role is facilitating some of the sessions, where do the participants come from, and where does the support for what you're actually doing, how do you know what to do?
Sure. So what we've got is we've got a facilitator as part of the Enactus team. Who's a staff member of Griffith, and she's fully trained and certified in running the program. Mm-hmm. That's been as part of the University of Melbourne and Origin, have partnered up for that. And so every year we have a new person who's vice president, which is me this year, and we look to organisations who can most benefit from our support. So we're looking for leaders in the youth community where through educating them, they can educate many more. So it's quite specialised. Due to kind of increased demand, we're now actually getting organisations come to us and ask us, can you please do a mental health workshop for us? So that's really great, and it seems to just spread from there to there. I feel that we're bridging a gap in between what mental health services are currently providing and what the community can provide for itself. Thank you.
Hi guys, great presentation, well done, really enjoyed it. In regards to an entrepreneurial approach to any or all the work that you guys have done, what do you think was the most important or different thing or different approach that you took as entrepreneurs to what you've done?
I think in answer to that question, our entrepreneurial approach for Griffith Enactus is our unique position in that we have so many diverse students. We've got students from film backgrounds, from me personally doing physio, from Elise doing Asian studies, Dan doing biomed. We've just got so many different students, and I think using their talents, their ideas, their passions to collaborate on projects, I think is what gives us the edge as a Griffith Enactus club.
Yeah, so with this diverse bank of resources, I think we're able to more efficiently target different community needs and have a more kind of sustained and holistic approach than perhaps sole business students could have.
Nice response, thank you.
Just the Innovate Media project, can you just clarify for me what the legacy you're trying to achieve here is? Is it empowering people with the skills, or is it actually providing them with for example, that video you showed us for them to be able to use?
It's kind of like a two-way prong in that sense. It is both providing them with a video which they can then use to advocate for their issues and gain support, but it is definitely in the empowerment, so showing them, teaching them the skills to use social media in an ongoing way so we don't need to continually go back. They can then take that knowledge and take those skills that we've taught them and then apply that to their businesses in the future and hopefully even keep expanding that and help other people in the future as well. So yeah, it's definitely both providing the resource and training them to keep those skills ongoing.
Just going on with that, the Innovate Media, so how do you ensure that, because I assume that you'd have to have students each year that have those type of media skills, how do you keep that ongoing?
Well, that's what, through our Helping Hands event, we do have a lot of engagement through that. So
Time for questions has expired. Sorry. Judges, please join me in thanking the team for